Hey everyone, it's Batty here from battiesbath.ca, and this video has nothing to do with Batty's Bath today. I often get asked what it's like living with ankylosing spondylitis, so today that's what I'm going to talk about. I often don't particularly like to focus in on the fact that I have AS or that I have fibro, but it often comes up because they are two illnesses that mean I can't do everything I want to do all the time. It means they slow me down, and it means that I need a really understanding group of people around me, because I don't look sick, but looks can be deceiving. So a lot of people know what fibro is, and most people know somebody with fibro. That's why I'm not going to focus on fibro today, because a lot of people are quite aware of it, know how debilitating it is. The dogs decide to play as soon as I'm doing a video, as usual. Good boy. Yeah, so anyways, I'm going to focus on AS. So ankylosing spondylitis is a degenerative bone disorder, or an autoimmune disorder. The Arthritis Society has taken it under their wing as a form of arthritis. It is very similar because inflammation damages the bones. In most cases, it's your SI joints and your hips and your spine. So with me, I had symptoms starting when, even before I was a teenager. But the problem with a disease like ankylosing spondylitis is they can't diagnose it, or at least they don't diagnose it or know anything is even wrong until the damage is already done, or at least a significant amount of damage is already done. So before I was diagnosed, I was having a lot of problems with my having a sore back all the time. Come on, Sass. I think she's breathing on the microphone. Having a sore back all the time. The back of my legs were always aching, and I just thought it was because like walking to school every day, or sitting a certain way, or whatever, like just basic activities. I thought that all of that aching was normal. I thought the fact that I had a really hard time sleeping, and that I could have easily been classified as an insomniac in my early teen years, and I still am today. I just thought that was normal. I just thought that was totally normal. And I thought being super tired and achy and all that, I just thought it was growing pains. Excuse you, Sassy. I just thought it was growing pains. I thought it was something I would grow out of. I just thought it was normal. And it was just things that you didn't think to bring up. So anyways, it got to the point where I thought I had been pinching a nerve in my back or something, because it was really sore. I ended up at the hospital a few times, and then it escalated to the point where I woke up in the middle of the night and I could not walk. I couldn't put my feet to the floor. Just sitting up on my own accord was extremely painful. Walking was way too painful. That was just completely out of the question. And I ended up at the hospital like that multiple times. And they just thought that, again, I had pulled a nerve in my back, and I also got asked all kinds of questions, and it felt like an interrogation that about my boyfriend beating me, or something like that. They thought that it was an abuse situation, which I understand. That's their job to kind of screen for that stuff. But no one would listen to me, that wasn't the case, and it just kept getting worse. And so anyways, it took, once I really started pushing, because I knew something more was wrong with that, it took, it took a very long time, at least 8 years to get finally diagnosed and know what I was dealing with. And at that point, there was significant damage to my SI joints. All the cartilage was completely gone. So even when my pain is completely controlled, that, like my fibro pain, the pain from the damage of what AS has done to my body, will always be there. The doctors have suggested cortisone shots, which I have declined, because I hear all kinds of horror stories and I don't want to make things worse or become dependent on them. Now, I might change my mind in the future if things get worse and that's the only option on the plate. But for right now, my daily life or week looks like kind of looks like this. So I take a needle in the stomach once a week. I give it to myself. What that does is it stops inflammation from happening in my body, or at least the majority of it, which stops ankylosing spondylitis in its tracks. So as long as I keep taking those needles right now and they keep working for my body, which lowers my immune system substantially because mine's overactive, as long as those keep working, no more damage is going to happen as far as the AS side. Fibro is another story, but I developed fibro because of AS. And you can read up about people developing fibromyalgia because of significant strains or whatever, but usually from what I read, most of the time it's a continued lack of disturbed sleep, which is exactly what was happening to me. So anyways, yes, weekly I take a needle. Every day, every 6 to 7 hours, I take pain medication. Without it, I cannot function. And that sounds totally like addict behavior, but it's true. The pain medicine I'm on are non-addictive and they're not narcotics. So thankfully I haven't had to move up to that route. But yeah, pain is very tiring. It takes a lot out of you. And it's not just physical, mentally it takes a lot out of you. Psychologically it takes a lot out of you. Like if you imagine, this is what my body feels like every day. You know when you have the flu and you're achy everywhere and walking feels like a chore and just moving or rolling over feels like a chore because your body feels like it's, hundreds of pounds more than it is? That's what my body feels like. So the pain medicine helps a little bit with that. Now, I've never not been completely pain-free in my lower back where my SI joints are, but it's minimized enough that I can function, that I can make this video right now, that I can have my own small business, that I can make a life for myself. Now, that's what a normal day is like. So I wake up, I'm achy, I take some medicine. I get woken up multiple times to take medicine in the night, and I can usually get going fairly well. Now this is just mostly AS. Now, if I'm taking, and I don't have, I rarely have, I should say, AS flares anymore. An AS flare to me looks like or means that I cannot walk. The last one I had was right before my brother's wedding. The drugstore did not get my needles in on time, and so I ended up taking it 3 days late by the time they had got it in, and I could barely walk. I was a bridesmaid and I could barely walk down the aisle for his wedding. I had to be carried into the room where the reception was because there were stairs, and I was severely drugged up to be able to walk down the aisle for him and be there for him. So that, yeah, that's my life. But yeah, so I rarely have those anymore. They only happen if I don't get my needle on time, which is a stressor. I mean, when I have needles in the fridge, I'm okay. When I know I have to go to the drugstore and get more, sometimes it's a fight with the insurance company. Sometimes, oops, they forgot to order them in, or oops, they didn't come in on time, or whatever, and I always order them super early. But it's a stressor because it means, oh my god, if I do not take this, it means the rest of my week is absolutely shot and maybe longer, because when I go into an AS flare, fibro reacts and flares up as well. Now, fibro flare is completely different. For me, it means I'm in bed and cannot move, and I'm so tired and so drained, and I sleep for 24, 48 hours, only getting up to pee, that sort of thing. But like I said, most people know about fibro, so I don't want to touch on it too much, but I'm actually, as far as my ankylosing spondylitis is concerned, I'm one of the lucky ones. Now, I do have an aggressive case of it, which is rare apparently for women. For a long time, they said it was rare for women to have it anyways, which is probably the reason it took so long for me to be diagnosed in the first place. But they realize it's not so rare anymore for women to have it. But they're still saying it's rare for women to have an aggressive case, and usually it's a lot worse in men. So, unique me, I have an aggressive case. But since it's been stopped in its tracks at this point, I'm super lucky because I know of other people with AS who are walking with canes, have a significant limp, which I usually don't have, or, oops, there goes my phone, telling me to take a needle, or they can't walk at all, and their pain levels are not being controlled well. They're having a hard time finding a medication routine that works for them. Now, having said that, now I look like a good case. Like I said, I look healthy. Right now I'm having a really good day. But it took a long time to get on the right medication. Probably 5 years after I was diagnosed. So if you just recently been diagnosed, or you're going through a rigmarole of all kinds of different medication, regimens, or all that kind of stuff, or trying new things to find out what works for you, stick with it because it is worth finding out what will work for you. Now, my biggest thing still is sleeping. I still have a really hard time sleeping, but recently, just this year actually, it is November now, but in January I did my very best to cut out all processed sugar because I am a sugar fiend. I don't have one sweet tooth, I have a mouthful of sweet teeth. So that was hard for me, but because I've been on sugar for so long, and it's probably the only thing I've ever been addicted to, but I was completely addicted. So the way I did it was gradual, and I replaced it with natural sugars. Now, some people out there would be like, oh, well, what was the point? But natural sugars are so much better for you and so much easier for your body to process. So that's how I did. That's how I dealt with the cravings. And that significantly helped. That helped so much. It took probably a couple months before I noticed that it was really helping a lot. But yeah, that was one big hurdle that really helped. The second thing was several weeks ago, I decided to try and get all the nutrients in my diet that my body needed. Now, when I started reading up on it, I was like, how am I going to do this? Like, you have to eat so much, and like things that I don't normally eat. Now, although I'm vegetarian, I'm not a salad lover, so salad makes my stomach really sore, and I just don't enjoy it. So, and that's what they say to do for most of it, like to eat your kale and your spinach and like all that good stuff into your diet is to eat salads. Okay, that is not going to work for me. But what I did instead was I put everything I need into a big smoothie. So I make that every day in the morning. You can't even taste like the kale or the spinach. Not that I mind either of them, but you don't taste any of that. All you taste is the fruit in it. And I add things like psyllium husk for my digestion and a bunch of really other good things into it. And it makes enough for me to drink it all day. So it makes a full juice pitcher just from one blender, like regular size blender. And I drink that all day. Every time I have a glass of that, I also have a glass of water with lemon in it. And just that alone, I think combining with cutting out all of that unnatural sugar, that alone has boosted my energy levels substantially. So I'm feeling so much better. I'm actually on days now, which is totally random. I haven't been off of nights for years. I've been a night owl all my life, and I haven't been able to be up during the day and a normal functioning human because I have no reason to be on nights. I don't work shift work, but it was just natural to my body and my whatever that rhythm is. But it was just natural for me and to be up at night. But now it feels so good to be up during the day, and I'm getting my vitamin D not just from supplements, but also from the sun. So a couple other things that I'm doing is I am getting all my, besides the smoothie, I'm also taking supplements. I was taking a few of these already, but now daily what I take is vitamin D. I take a lot of vitamin D. I find it really helps with my mood, which reduces my pain levels. I take fish oil from my naturopath, so I know it's a really good source of fish oil. I take, what else do I take? I take vitamin B12. I'm considering adding a B complex to the mix as well. And then I take calcium, and I take calcium because I'm on Depo-Provera, which if you don't take calcium on it, you have a risk of osteoporosis. And I did have a 10% bone density loss being on Depo-Provera the last time I cycled on it. And so I let my body remineralize itself and build up that bone density again before I went back on Depo. But now I'm being really conscious about taking that calcium. Now my calcium supplement has zinc and magnesium in it too. Zinc is amazing for the skin. 30 milligrams a day of zinc has been scientifically proven, I almost didn't get that out, to reduce acne, so, which is awesome. And then zinc and magnesium also help with everything else that my health goals are, which are to be a normal functioning person with lots of energy. So I don't know if I'll be able to upload this video because it's super, super long. But yeah, I didn't get into some of the additional stuff with AS, but that's kind of an overview of my life, and I consider myself one of the extremely lucky ones to have had this disease, but I would say at least, 3 to 4 days a week, I feel good and normal and functioning. So that's not bad. Anyways, this is Batty signing off from baddysbath.ca, and I hope that helped, and I hope if you're someone with AS or fibro watching this, stick with being your own health advocate, learning everything you can, and doing what you can to make yourself feel better, because it is worth it. Trust me. Until next time, see ya.